Start of the 1840 turn, night has fallen on the field of Schoengrabern, which will no doubt slow the French even more. If we scan the field west to east, we see Legrand struggling through the vineyard, pushing up towards the path, coming back to the center. See the grenadiers trying to push the path, and very few Russians in front of them. A couple of battalions, and that's all. And farther to the east, we see Suchet moving rapidly up the path, but the vineyard is a big obstacle, and with the fall of night and the decrease in movement values for infantry and artillery, it's going to be very difficult for the French to get out of here and finally get their attack onto Guntersdorf. So let's watch and see how the movement progresses here. I don't have any horses, so apparently horses must be able to see very good at night, because only infantry and artillery are affected by the fall of night. So we're going to go ahead and move our cavalry as far as we can. They're trying to sneak up through the forest there. It's slow going. We have some infantry here. We can move up. That's 2, 4. One more will be 6. 2, 4, 6. 2. Now, these guys only have 5 movement points with night, so we can move them 2 hexes. And all these line battalions will be able to move 2 hexes. Sorry, I moved that guy. My mistake. He's right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. As far as you can get. 1, 4, 5, 2, 4, 3. We could get them farther, but no matter. Now we'll move to the center and watch the grenadiers struggle through the vineyard. So these guys are down to 6 movement points. 3 per hex in the vineyard. Get some skirmishers. Gonna send some skirmishers off here. That's as far as those skirmishers can get. Only 6 movement points. So the grenadiers are not getting very far. Moral of this story is, get through the vineyard before the night falls. We have a little bit of artillery here we can possibly move. And now we'll go and watch Legrand try to get through these terrible vines. So I think we're going to have Legrand try to angle back towards this path, try to pick up his pace a little bit. Basically, they're in pretty rough shape out here. They only have 5 movement points, and the vineyard costs 3, so everybody's going to struggle along at 1 hex. That is very slow going. Now these light skirmishers have 6, so they can get 2 hexes. So it was a big mistake sending them way off on a flanking march that they couldn't complete. Largely it was due to the slow arrival, but also because the player is stupid. So that's as far as we can move. We'll go ahead and shamble right into the fire phases. So we have two areas of contact here on the west side. We'll throw some dice. And we rolled a very nice high number right here. Middling number. I know just from the general against the skirmishers and vineyard that wouldn't have an effect. We got a nice 62 here, which will be a casualty on that French battalion. That'll be a third increment loss, which does not trigger a morale check. For a nice, large 8 increment battalion, it's really not that bad. Here in the center, we also have 2 points of contact, these grenadiers against skirmishers in both areas. So we need a very high roll. We did not get it. 2 kind of low rolls, so no casualties there. Finally here on the east side we have these 2 battalions facing that one French battalion on the path there. Rolled a lousy 22. I don't even have to bother to calculate odds. I know that's not going to result in a casualty. So if we move forward, we can progress right to the offensive fire phase, and we'll just fire that battalion right here. No effect. And we can see that attack right there, so we'll throw some dice. That's middling. I'm going to go ahead and figure the odds on that one. So that is 6 increments, 3 fire factor against infantry in general. So yeah, that should yield a hit. And that casualty will cause a morale check. Grenadiers are 16. Our morale dice were a 55, so they pass easily. Another shot here, the skirmishers against grenadiers. Low number, not enough to cause a casualty. And we can actually kind of see up here the last 2 attacks, these skirmishers here and those infantry in general. 2 middling numbers, no casualties. So we'll be able to progress into our melee phase, should we choose to melee anyone. This isn't especially advisable, but the French need to make progress. They need to get out of this vineyard. So Suchet, despite being on a morale level, is going to give a shot, meleeing a obscured battalion. 4 increments of grenadiers. This is going to be pretty rough on Suchet. He's on a morale level, and he can only generate half his men for the attack. So we'll start with the pre-melee morale check for the attacker. Terrible number, a 13. I don't even think with help. He has a 24. Yeah, he's not going to pass that. So he will fall back in disorder. So now we have one more on the west side. Legrand is leading this battalion here. He's going to crash into more grenadiers. It's a similar situation. He can only bring 3 increments to bear. At least he's not on a morale level. Oh, that's another terrible roll. Rolled a 14 that time. So I don't think we can pass that, even with a little bit of help from the general. So he also will disorder. That is a ineffective attack by the French. So that will conclude our miserable attempt at melee. Now we have to rally these 2 disorder battalions. So we'll start with Legrand's there. He rolled a 23. His morale is 26. And even with Legrand's considerable influence, they will fail that rally and disorder, or excuse me, rout. And similarly, we have Suchet over here. Ah, terrible rolls of French. Don't really even have to check this one, but it was a 15. They're disordered, that's -3, plus they're on a morale level. So I don't think any amount of help was going to save that battalion either. So 2 routed French battalions. So we're just going to go ahead and rout them. Hopefully they won't run off the page. I guess fortunately they're in the vineyard, so they can only get so far. I know it's -2 to infantry movement. I guess that counts for rout too. I can get him 2 hexes. Same goes for Legrand's guy. 2 hexes. So both generals are retreating with their men. We have no cavalry to recover, so that'll finish the French half of this turn. So from the Russian perspective here, anytime the French are not steamrolling them off the field, it's been a good turn. So for the most part, the Russians gave no ground. They can just sort of solidify the little line they're trying to make here and keep the French from getting around them. So largely it will just be some maneuver and a little bit of sniping this turn for them. So on the west side, we have the large Hussar regiment sitting there. These are actually some Cossacks. We have that battalion. I don't think I want to move him, even though he's going to expose him to yet another shot. I think my best bet is to leave him in place right there. The Prince is going to move into the town there. I don't know how to pronounce that. Pichel. In the center and the east, it's kind of a similar situation. We don't want to give up too much ground, but we don't really want to try to engage anybody. No real counterattacks going on here. Just sticking and moving. We're going to move them 1 hex up the path. Try to get in somebody's way if they come along. Over here on the east, we have the Cossacks here. We're going to put them in the trees. We're in real low danger of being outflanked here. So I think we'll shove this guy over. Really all he can get is 1 hex because of the movement restrictions. I think we will call that our movement. If we move on to fires, you see we have French here, able to fire some defensive fire. We rolled a nice big number again. So these skirmishers are doing a good job against these grenadiers in front of them here. That's 2 shots in a row. So, a 3rd increment loss. They're getting a little too thin on that line. Hope to avoid any more casualties, but we kind of walked right into that one. 1 more shot here. 46. No particular dangers. Now we'll have 1 more shot on the west side. So we rolled a low number of 14, so no casualties there. So now we'll just start firing back. The Russians on the French. They're going to have to roll very high in any place they're engaged. So 3 pretty low rolls. The closest one is a 52 right here, but he's far too small a fire factor to make an effect. So that should be it for the fires. I don't see any melees the Russians want to undertake. They have currently no one in disorder or rout, no cavalry to recover. So that should do it for the 1840 turn. First turn of night, we didn't get very far. The French tried to push, and they just couldn't catch up to anybody in the center here. And then Suchet and Legrand just failed to drive home their attacks. So that was a very good turn for the Russians. They're getting really close to winning this game, which, you know, is fairly historical. So I guess that's what we want to see. We'll move on to the next night turn.